Alright, in here we're gonna go over quickly basically the last little bit of wiring that I did and how we're gonna be timing it. Okay, so some of the things that I didn't cover in some of the last videos is that I didn't use the OEM air intake sensor, which is inside of here. I have one from Haltech that I have since wired in. And part of the reason I wanted to retain the stock ECU is to try and keep the stock wiring and basically keep cruise control, the creature comforts, but I was having some issues with that. I think it was just some tuning stuff because once I had somebody actually take a look at it, I don't think that I would have needed to tap into this. But either way, now the Elite is controlling everything for throttle now. And the coolant temp, I tried to do something a little bit different. So you can see back here, I have a little inline coolant temp sensor. This is the other thing. I did not use the stock coolant temp sensor. And the reason that I went with air and coolant that is not for the stock sensor is because I don't know the calibration info. I basically couldn't find any of that anywhere. So the other thing I don't have in there is oil temp. That'll probably come in at a later date when I put the oil cooler on the car. So let's get jump back into timing the car and getting her cranked over for the first time. Alright, excuse the dirty floor, but I don't know where I'm going to put this in the video, but basically, okay, you got to wire your accelerator pedal position. It's going to be APP 1 and 2. So what you have to do is this is just excess wire that's looped around, but you're going to have your this solid orange, which is a 5-volt, which needs to go to both 5-volt signal sources in the in this pedal sensor, and then there is going to be the actual positions, the 1 and 2 positions, and I have position 1 as this pink wire, which is let's see if we can we can't really get it. That's pin 2. It's printed, or sorry, not pin 2, pin 4. And then the one that I have for accelerator position, oh boy, I can't remember after I taped it up. It's one of those 2 yellow wires. Either way, you have to pin all these out, but position 1 is about twice the voltage as position 2. So one of the things, at least that I found in the wiring, was that they don't make it explicitly clear that the Haltech has to power the 5-volt signals. Otherwise, it will not function correctly. So you can't be using your stock harness for these. Well, I'll get that put in place better. And the other thing that goes with this is going to be the wiring to the throttle body. So the diagram that I found from Hyundai didn't match this at all. It's closer to what Bosch has. So again, you need, this is the 5-volt, a solid orange wire coming out of the Haltech. That is going to be your 5-volt signal. The 2 pink wires are the drive-by-wire motor, and then the green and the white and black are your TPS 1 and 2, so throttle position sensor 1 and 2. The other thing that they didn't make explicitly clear is that there's pin A26. It's a red and blue wire that will need to go to the 12-volt signal for the injectors. And when you're getting that 12-volt signal, just remember that with the outputs from the Haltech to your injectors are the grounds, so do not connect it to the same wires that are in the harness going to the Haltech, because that's going to be connected to a ground, and pin A26 is a 12-volt signal when your ignition is on, because the injectors always receive a 12-volt signal, but the ECU is what grounds them and completes that circuit and fires the injector. So all you're doing is getting a 12 volt that is switched on. So, and it controls other things as well. All right, so I don't know where I left off, but basically, so here I was messing around with the top dead center offset angle and using my timing light. So I've been at 115 degrees. I might be off by a degree or two, but here's what I had to do in order to actually do that. So I have the upgraded 3-wire coils, and what I did is go to Napa, and I got basically some random spark plug wire. I'll put the part number for this on the screen, but basically I had to kind of use some pliers and push it onto the spark plug, and then you can use a regular timing light on this. So the other thing, oh, you can't really see it because it's not visible, but I took some white paint and I painted the top dead center, and then I also painted on the pulley so that when you crank it, it's a lot easier to see its location. So essentially, there's a bunch of videos out there on how to do that, but then you'll take your timing light, you'll do that. On the Haltech program, you need to, let's take a look at it. So what you do, sorry, this isn't going to be the greatest quality here, but you'll go over to your ignition, and then you go to lock mode here, and then you do always on. And essentially that's going to lock your whatever, the timing here. So then you can come back over to this trigger tab and you can start changing your top dead center offset angle. So now the only thing that I don't know is if that was on the intake or the exhaust stroke that I got that set. So essentially if that's wrong, I'll make a note of it in this part of the video, and I'll essentially add 360 degrees into it. When I connected this spark plug, I took the boot off of the bottom of it. This is what a regular coil looks like, and essentially you can get a really small screwdriver in there and be as careful as you can. You can peel that off, and then this basically just presses down in there as tight as you can get it so that it contacts the little spring, and then you get in there, and then yeah, so there you go. That's how you can check timing when you have coil on plug. The other benefit, obviously, of these 3 wires, if I haven't mentioned it before, or the smart coils, basically, because they use 3 wires, is the fact that the signal wire, what I have here with the yellow, goes directly to the Haltech. So if you have a 2-wire coil, ignition coil, you have to do an external igniter. So while you can do that, it'll just be more wiring and kind of some more complex stuff, because then you have to have it mounted to a metal surface and with thermal paste and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you know, I don't know. I don't know enough about electronics to give you a good answer on that one. That's just what Haltech says to do with it. So now that I basically have that set, hopefully this next clip is me cranking the car over and it actually starts.